Yes. Hello.
Hari Om. Welcome to all of you. Today's Arati will be performed by three devotees, Dr. Tejal, Dr. Rajeshwari Soni, and Shri HVK Gupta. I request all the three of them to come here, perform Arati. Rajeshwari Soni, please come. HVK. After performing the Arati, offer Arati to Swamiji and then to the people and collect prasad. Hari Om.
आरति श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की दिव्य रूप मूर्ति करुणा की। आरति सद्गुरु की। चरणों में उनके शांति समाए, शरणागत की भ्रांति मिटाए, पाप ताप संताप हरण की। आरति श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की। आरति सद्गुरु की। वेद उपनिषद गीता को गाया, धर्म सनातन फिर से जगाया। शुद्ध नीति प्रीति शंकर की। आरति श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की। आरति सद्गुरु की। सिद्धबाड़ी की तपोभूमि में नित्य विराजे गुरु हमारे। भक्त हृदय आनंद स्रोत की। आरति श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरु की। आरति सद्गुरु की। आरति सद्गुरु की। बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की। ओम हर हर नमः पार्वती पतये हर हर। गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी। गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी। गोविन्द गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी गोविन्द गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन वृंदावन विहारी श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन वृंदावन विहारी वृंदावन विहारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी वृंदावन विहारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी गोविंद गिरिधारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी श्याम सुंदर मदन मोहन वृंदावन विहारी वृंदावन विहारी गोवर्धन गिरिधारी गोविंद 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 गिरिधारी गोविंद गिरिधारी गोविंद गिरिधारी। ये श्री वृंदावन विहारी लाल की, सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की। ओ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. We'll chant the mantras that we have seen so far from the beginning. ॐ अथाश्वलायनो भगवन्तं परमेष्ठिनम् उपसमेत्य उवाच अधीहि भगवन् ब्रह्मविद्यां वरिष्ठां सदा सद्भिः सेव्यमानां निगूढां यया चिरात् सर्वपापं व्यपोह्य परात् परं पुरुषं याति विद्वान् तस्मै स होवाच पितामहश्च श्रद्धा भक्ति ध्यानयोगादवैः न कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानशुः परेण नाकं निहितं गुहायां विभ्राजते यतयो विशन्ति वेदान्तविज्ञानसुनिश्चितार्थाः सन्न्यासयोगाद्यतयः शुद्धसत्त्वाः ते ब्रह्मलोकेषु परान्तकाले परामृतात् परिमुच्यन्ति सर्वे विविक्तदेशे च सुखासनस्थः शुचिः समग्रीवशिरः शरीरः अत्याश्रमस्थः सकलेन्द्रियाणि निरुध्य भक्त्या स्वगुरुं प्रणम्य हृत्पुण्डरीकं विरजं विशुद्धं विचिन्त्य मध्ये विशदं विशोकम् अचिन्त्यमव्यक्तमनन्तरूपं शिवं प्रशान्तममृतं ब्रह्मयोनिं तथादिमध्यान्तविहीनमेकं विभुं चिदानन्दमरूपमद्भुतम् उमासहायं परमेश्वरं प्रभुं त्रिलोचनं नीलकण्ठं प्रशान्तं ध्यात्वा मुनिर्गच्छति भूतयोनिं समस्तसाक्षिं तमसः परस्तात्. So, we see that Rishi Ashwalayana, who is the Shishya here, approaches the teacher, Bhagavan Brahmaji, and requests for Brahma Vidya. Also glorifies that Brahma Vidya by expounding what is the nature of that Brahma Vidya. And says, please teach me this Brahma Vidya. And the Guru, finding that the disciple, the Shishya, is fit, eligible, points out the way to reach that Brahma Vidya. He has not yet explained Brahma Vidya, okay? But points out the way, Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga Davaihi. And then also explains that Brahma Vidya can be achieved only through Tyaga, through Sannyasa, by giving up. Not by karma, praja or dhana. And when one gives up the desire for all the worldly enjoyments of this world or of other worlds and pursues the knowledge of that supreme reality, gains that knowledge here itself if that student is fit. What do you mean if the student is fit? If that student has got purity and clarity. Purity of mind and clarity of intellect. If in case sufficient purity and clarity is not there, which will give the realization, liberation here itself, but a person has done lot of tapas, lot of upasana, even ahangraha upasana, has gained the knowledge, then the seeker, upasaka, will go to Brahmaloka as a result of his upasana. And there in the Brahmaloka, he will gain the Brahma Vidya, by which he will be liberated there. This is called Krama Mukti. Mukti, liberation. Krama, in steps. Liberation in steps. So he had explained both these points. So what is the path that is chalked down by the Guru here? Purity of mind, clarity. With that clarity, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, Samadhi, that is the final goal. Now, in order to gain this purity and clarity, in order to do Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, to walk this path, Upasana has to be done. So, we saw in the last session the concept of Upasana. Upa, near, asana, to sit. To sit near God, to sit near that supreme reality. How? With mind. So this meditation, the practice of meditation is what is explained here. And first, the Guru gives the steps for preparing oneself for that meditation. Right from the very basic things he starts. Vivikta Desha. You should find a place which is Vivikta, which is secluded, where nobody else is there who will disturb you. Cha. And also time which is suitable, where the disturbance is minimum. Sukha sanastaha. Choose a seat which is comfortable. Choose a posture which is comfortable. Shuchihi. Make sure that it is clean. Outer cleanliness and inner clean intention. Samagriva shirashariraha. Make sure that your body, neck and head are in vertically aligned positions, same level. Atyashramastaha. Sit there with complete detachment to the world. During that practice of meditation, when you are doing upasana, you belong to nobody. All the duties, keep it aside for that time. Once the upasana is over, again you take up the duties and do your duties. Shastra is not telling us to drop the duties, but for that period, you don't belong to the world. Atyashramasta, you are a sannyasi. They say even while doing Shravana, you are a sannyasi. Sannyasya Shravanam Kuryat. Give up. Because we saw sannyasa is not outer. I changed the clothes. Now I wear orange clothes. So I am a sannyasi. No. Sannyasa is not a outer indicator. Sannyasa means what? I have given up the desire, the longing for worldly enjoyments. This world or other worlds. That is called as sannyasa. So being in that attitude of detachment, sakale indriyani niruddhya, by controlling all your senses, even your inner equipment of mind and intellect. Now what? Now do the last step in the preparation. What is that? Bhaktya swagurum pranamya. Prostrate to your Guru with devotion. Pray to the Guru to give success in this path of meditation, in this practice of meditation, in this upasana. And then what? Now the preparation of controlling mind is over. We saw in meditation there are two main steps. Number one, controlling the mind, taking it away from the world. And then second step is that controlled mind has to be employed towards that higher supreme self. Rit Pundarikam. Where is that supreme self? Right here. So in your lotus heart, what you should do? Vichintya. Rit Pundarikam Madhye, in your lotus heart, Vichintya, meditate. Meditate on what? How, with what mind? Virajam Vishuddham. With the mind which is without rajas and without tamas. And meditate on what? Now the Upanishad gives two options. Upanishad says the ultimate meditation has to be on that Nirguna Parabrahma Paramatma. So how to meditate on that Nirguna Parabrahma Paramatma which has no guna, no akara, no form, no qualities are there? Some pointers are given. Vishadam, that which is crystal clear. Vishokam, that which is without any grief, sorrow. Achintyam, which is unthinkable. Avyaktam, which is unmanifest. Anantarupam, which has got infinite forms. Shivam, which is auspicious. Prashantam, which is extremely calm. Amritam, which is immortal. Brahma, which is supreme Brahman. Yonim, which is the womb, the cause of the entire world. Or you can take Brahma Yonim together, which is the Yoni, cause of Brahma. That is that supreme reality. Adi Madhya Anta Vihinam, which has no beginning, no middle, no end. It is infinite. Ekam, it is one. Vibhum, it is all pervasive. Chidanandam, it is of the nature of consciousness and bliss. Arupam, it has no form. Adbhutam, and it is a wonder. Why? Because Brahman of this nature is my own self. Now with all that preparation that you have done, now you should meditate on this Brahman in your lotus heart. There are two ways of doing this meditation also. One way is, take any one pointer which is given here. Any one. Let us say, for example, Prashantam, let us say. I am just taking something in the middle. Prashantam is one word, one pointer given here. Extremely calm. Extremely peaceful. Now what? Just allow that Prashantam, that word, to sink in. In the meditation, please understand, we are not doing thinking part. How is that Brahman Prashantam? That is Manana step. The meaning of Prashantam we have to understand, that is Shravana. Shravana and Manana is over. Now in meditation, what are we doing? We are allowing that thought, that word, that Brahman to just sink in. No thinking. Just be with that word. That I am that Prashantam. I am that Prashantam. Now feel that. The moment another thought arises in the mind, it is going to disturb your Shanti. Reject that thought and say, I am Prashantam. Prashantam. One way. Second way is, keep on bringing these pointers one after the other. Not holding on to one, but keep on bringing. Vishadam, Vishokam, Achintyam, Avyaktam, Arupam, etc., etc. And with each one, what are we doing? We are just staying with that, understanding that this is me, this is me, this is me. Adi Madhyanta Vihinam. Without the beginning, without the middle, without the end. That infinite Brahman I am. I have no form. I am Adbhuta. I am a wonder. So you are sitting with that thought. That's why Upasana. Not thinking. Thinking is one step before. Sometimes, meditation doesn't happen properly because manana has not happened properly. Always in sadhana, there is one very simple trick. If any sadhana is not happening properly, understand that the step before that is lacking. So if any particular thing you can't do, go one step back and do that properly. Then you will get this also properly. Now, in case you are not able to meditate on this Nirguna Rupa, Upanishad says you can also meditate on Saguna Rupa. Why? Because Bhagavan is Parabrahma only. That Saguna Bhagavan is Nirguna Paramatma only. There is no distinction. The difference only exists in our mind. But it is one step below, so you can hold on to it easier. Nirguna is difficult to imagine, difficult to visualize, difficult to meditate on. So what? Now you can also do Saguna Dhyana. You can meditate on the formed Paramatma. Paramatma with form. Who is that? Here the Rupa taken is of Lord Shiva. So mantra says, Uma Sahayam. One who is always with Uma. Uma is Parvati. Along with Parvati. Here we saw Parvati represents Brahma Vidya. And that Shiva represents that Paramatattva Brahman. See, interestingly, in Kenopanishad, Uma is the Guru. Isn't it? Kenopanishad, if you see in that story, not of the Upanishad, but in the story in the last two khandas, if you see, you remember the story? Devatas got ahankara, and therefore one yaksha voice came, and then, everybody wanted to test. So he said, "Who are you?" "I am Agni, I can burn anything." He said, "Burn this blade of grass." Agni could not do. Then Vayu came. "I can dry up anything." "Okay, dry this blade of grass." He could not do. Then Indra came. That yaksha disappeared. Indra said, "What is this? Give me at least chance to say something." And Uma, Haimavati appeared there and gave the knowledge to Indra. Story comes. Now remember, Kena Upanishad is also from the same Upanishad, same Veda, Atharva Veda. So Uma Sahayam can also mean with Guru. Sakshat Ishvara is there with Guru. That also way you can take. Isn't it? See how Upasana is, let me explain a technical concept. Upasana worship is Purusha Tantra. Purusha Tantra. It depends on the person who is doing the Upasana. Whereas Jnana, knowledge, is Vastu Tantra. It depends on that object which you are knowing. Example, what is this? This is a watch. Okay? Now the knowledge that this is a watch cannot be different. Why? Because the knowledge of watch depends on the watch. You can either have the knowledge, may not have the knowledge, but the knowledge is dependent on watch alone. Jnana is Vastu Tantra. But Upasana is Purusha Tantra. Why? Because when Upasana, what are we doing? Nikrishta Vastuni Shastrokta Utkrishta Bhavaha. Yesterday we saw that in a lower object, we are imagining, invoking a higher reality, higher form. Now it depends on the person how he wants to imagine. The stronger the feeling, more clear will be the visualization. When it is said that in that Shivalinga, you imagine the form of Lord Shiva, now stronger the feeling for Lord Shiva, clearer will be the imagination. And however you want to imagine, you can imagine. It depends on you. Tulsidas ji, who has written Ramacharita he considers Lord Shiva as Guru. Why? Because Shiva is the one who is uniting him to Sri Rama, who is Paramatma for him. Ishtadevata is Sri Rama. So Shiva becomes Guru. Dakshinamurti Bhagavan, Guru. Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam. So Sada Shiva is Guru. So you can imagine that Shiva as Guru. And then you imagine Bhagavan Sri Rama as your Ishtadevata as Parabrahma. The point is what? That Saguna Brahma, which is Sri Rama, has to be understood as Nirguna's Rupa. That there is no difference between Sri Rama and Parabrahma Paramatma. There is no difference between Shiva here and that Parabrahma. So you imagine Shiva as Lord, as Guru, and Sri Rama as your Paramatma. Or here how it is mentioned, Uma Sahayam. Uma is the Guru and Shiva is Paramatma. However you want to do. Uma Sahayam, Parameshwaram. That Lord Shiva is Parameshwara. Parameshwara means absolute ruler. Ishwara. Ishwara Bhava means one who rules, governs, controls. Prabhum, he is the master. Trilochanam, he has got 3 eyes. We saw the significance of these 3 eyes. Surya, Chandra and Agni. Right? We saw the meaning there also. Trilochanam, Neelakantham. Another pointer. The one with blue neck. Neelakantham, Prashantam. Extremely calm. Now if you notice, in Nirguna Dhyana and Saguna Dhyana both, Prashantam word is used. One word is common, but the meanings are different. In Nirguna, Prashantam means that which is extremely peaceful, means where there is no disturbance, there is no form. Here, that Prashanta means his face is extremely calm, because we are meditating on a form. On a form we are meditating, no, Saguna Dhyana. So there that Prashantam means extremely calm. That's why I was telling yesterday, you look at any of Lord Shiva's image, Murti, he will be sitting in meditation, calm. Amidst all the things that are going around him, he is calm. Prashantam. Dhyatva. Meditating upon this Saguna Rupa, and with the understanding that this Saguna Shiva himself is that Nirguna Brahma, Munihi Brahma Yonim Bhuta Yonim Gacchati. Munihi, this meditative person, Gacchati, goes to Bhuta Yonim, to the cause of all the beings, to that Paramatma, who is Samasta Sakshim, who is the witness of all, Tamasaf Parastat, who is beyond all the tamas. Right? Now, I told you, the same verses of Nirguna and Saguna Dhyana, if they are done with the desire in mind, then it will become Upasana. And the phala of that Upasana will be going to that Brahma Loka, Kailasha Loka, and from there getting liberation if done with Ahangraha Upasana. Right? If in case it is not done with any desire, but with the knowledge, with the purity and clarity, with the understanding that Saguna and Nirguna are one and the same. So though I am meditating on Saguna Rupa, Lord Shiva, I know that this is that Nirguna Brahma only. Why am I meditating on Saguna then? Because I am incapable of Nirguna Dhyana immediately. So I am taking help of form to go to formless. When done with this understanding, with this knowledge, then the result is Jivan Mukti, liberation while living. Now this liberation while living, when Jivan Mukti is what you want to say, no? Then that word Dhyatva, you see Dhyatva is there in mantra number 7, that will mean Nididhyasana, meditation. But if you are referring to Krama Mukti, where knowledge is not happening here, you are doing Upasana here, going to Brahma Loka, that is where knowledge is happening and then you are getting liberated, then that Vichintya word is there earlier, Vichintya Madhye Vishadam Vishokam, mantra number 5, that will refer to Upasana. So again these mantras 5, 6, 7 refer to both Jivan Mukti and Krama Mukti. Depends on how we do it. Now if in case a person has realized that Nirguna, Saguna is one and the same, and has realized that Brahman, what is that person's experience? This is a question that we often ask. That Vedji, you and me, we see the world, but what about the Jnani? How does he see the world? See, when I say he, please understand it can be she also, okay? Some pronoun I have to use, no? So that's why I am using. Don't catch my throat. What do you mean he only? Can't she realize? Anyone can realize. Vedanta says I am not the body, so no question of being a male or a female, isn't it? But if I say it, in English, it is referred to objects, isn't it? And therefore I am using he. That Jivan Mukta Jnani, I am using as he. Please in your mind you understand it can be he, she, it, anything, okay? What is the vision of that jnani? You and me, we see the world full of chaos. The world divided into these are good people, these are bad people, these are good things, these are bad things, this I like, this I don't like. World of plurality is filled with all these kind of notions. What is that jnani is thinking? Jnani's vision about the world. And the Shastra explains that jnani's vision as sarvatma bhava. Sarvatma bhava means what? Sarva in all, atma bhava, the feeling of the self. That everything that the jnani perceives is self. Now this sarvatma bhava is explained in next 3 mantras. That sarvatma bhava with which the Jivan Mukta experiences is explained now in next 3 mantras. But it is explained in a very, very interesting way. Whilst reflecting upon the Shanti mantra, we said that there are 3 kinds of obstacles that can come. You remember? That's why we say Shanti 3 times. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Why? Because the obstacles can come from Adi Daivika forces, Adi Bhautika forces, and Adhyatmika forces. Actually, these 3, Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, and Adhyatmika, these 3 are the aspects in everything. In everything of the world, these 3 aspects exist. Anything that we see, anything that we say, anything that we hear, everything has got these 3 aspects. One is the aspect of natural forces, the devatas. Another is the aspect of bhautika jagat, the world around me. And third is the aspect of something which is related to me, which is within me. So now the way Sarvatma Bhava explained is how that jnani has feeling of oneself with Adi Daivika, with Adi Bhautika, and Adhyatmika. In all 3, he has got the feeling that I alone am everything. So with that concept, now you see the mantras. Now mantras will give different meaning. So many times we have studied Kaivalya Upanishad, but we may not have thought like this. Let us see. Mantra number 8. Sabrahma sashivasendraha Soksharaf Paramaswarat Sa eva Vishnu Sapranaha Sakalogni Sachandramaha. Together. Sabrahma Sashivasendraha Soksharaf Paramaswarat Sa eva Vishnu Sapranaha Sakalogni Sachandramaha. Saha. Who? He. Who? He. That jnani. Which jnani? Munihi dhyatva bhutayonim gacchati. Previous mantra. That jnani, what does he feel? Saha Brahma. He himself is the creator. Who is the Guru also here? Sa Brahma, creator, Prathama Shariri. In the Upanishad, etc., he will be referred to as Hiranyagarbha. The same Hiranyagarbha in Puranas will be explained as Chaturmukha Brahma, the creator. Consciousness associated with total mind. Hiranyagarbha. Sa Brahma, Sa Shivaha. He himself is that Lord Shiva. Who? Upasya Devata, on whom he was meditating. Now he realizes that I am one with him. Sashivaha. Saha Indraha. He himself is the Lord of the Devatas, King of the Devatas. Indraha. Sa Indraha. Saha Aksharaha. He himself is the Maya. Akshara here refers to that Prakriti Maya, which is Akshara, akshara means relatively imperishable. We already saw this concept. Akshara. As compared to all other things, it does not perish because it creates everything. Therefore, it is higher than them. Saha aksharaha. You 15th chapter of Gita? Dvavimau purushau loke ksharascha evacha ksharas sarvani bhutani kutastho kshara uchyate. That akshara is explained as Maya or Jiva, not as Parabrahma. Why? Uttama purushastu anyaha. Other than this kshara and akshara purusha is that uttama purusha. Paramatmetyudarataha yo lokatrayamavishya vibharti avyaya ishvaraha. So kshara is that which is perishable, the gross and the subtle world. That comes and goes. Akshara is that causal world, that Maya. That Maya is also He Himself. Saha aksharaha. Paramaha, He is the highest. Swarat. Swarat means what? Swayameva rajate. Swemahimni rajate. The one who shines by himself, the self-luminous. That Parabrahma Paramatma is also He alone, Swarat. Sa eva Vishnuhu. He himself is Vishnu. Otherwise you will wonder, Veji, what happened to Brahma, Shiva? Vishnu is not there. Yes, coming. That Vishnu is also He Himself. Sapranaha, the life principle in everybody, the pranas, the functions of pranas, no, the 5 physiological functions, that happens in all, sapranaha. Or you can consider that prana here as Vayu Devata also, the total prana. Kalaha, He Himself is Kala. Kala is Yama, time, Yamaraj. Agni, fire. That Agni Devata, that is also He only. Chandramaha, the moon that we see, that is also He. What do you mean? Jnani, when understands oneness with that Supreme Brahman, will remember, will recognize his oneness with all the natural forces as well. Now, sometimes what happens, some people say, Veji, this is very good to hear, but not practical. How can I feel that I am Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and I am Indra, and I am Agni and Vayu? First of all, we don't even know who are the Agni, Vayu, Indra, etc. Okay, we don't know. You understand that in those times where the Veda was so prevalent, all these deities were well known. Nowadays we have to explain who is Indra, Agni, Vayu, etc. For them it was daily, everyday thing. So when it is said, imagine a person who has studied Veda for a long time, okay, has done so many ahutis every day to Indra, Om Indraya Swaha, Indraya Edam Namaha, Om Agnaye Swaha, Agnaye Edam Namaha, Vayave Swaha, Om Prajapataye Swaha. After doing that for such a long time, when they come to this mantra and they understand Sa Brahma, Sa Shiva, the feeling will be different. So this is to be understood in the context. Upanishad is also part of the Veda, right? And Veda has the previous Karma Kanda, which people used to follow. Now somebody who has followed that for a long time suddenly gains this knowledge that to whom I was offering ahutis, that is actually me only. You imagine that knowledge then will be liberating for that person. We will not understand. For us it is just for chanting purpose. Sabrahma, Sajiva, Sayendra, Sokshara, Paramaswara, Tradagam, Satyam. We will just chant. We chant Ganapati Atharva Shirsha also. Same thing comes or no there. Isn't it? That everything is that Ganesha only, everything is... See, for them these are all well-known deities. And therefore when it is said, the oneness that the Jnani feels, it's with all these deities. That's why you will have so many stories, no? where sometimes stories of Mahatmas, Jnanis, where something is offered to Bhagavan, they will go and start eating. And then everybody will say, what is this, what are you doing, etc. And they will start beating, and Bhagavan will appear there and will say, hey, he is eating means I am eating. Why? Oneness is felt. That oneness is experienced by them. It is not that the Jnani will start behaving like he is Vishnu. There was one person, if you remember the story in Puranas, who thought that he is Mahavishnu. Paundraka, if I remember. Suddenly he started. So what did he do? He was a king. So he made two people to make two extra hands. Plaster of Paris, with plaster of Paris. And he connected those two hands here. And he started sitting with Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. Not that Jnani will start behaving like Brahma, Vishnu, Maya. He will recognize that oneness with all the deities. That's the point. Let me give you one example. You will understand the point. Suppose in your dream, you see Lord Shiva in front of you. Suppose. Generally, we don't get such good dreams. Our dreams are very terrible most of the times. Most of the time they are recurring. Some stupid dream will keep on coming again and again and again. Why? Because that is what we deserve also. Even to see Lord Shiva in dream requires lot of punya. Now suppose in case in your dream, you see Lord Shiva appearing in front of you. And luckily you remember the mantra and you start Uma Sahayam Parameshwaram Prabhum Trilochanam Neelakantham Prashantam. Suppose. And Bhagavan becomes pleased with you and gives mukti. And then you wake up. Now, on waking up, what do you realize? That one who was chanting the mantra in the dream and one who appeared as Lord Shiva in the dream, both me only. Why? Because in my dream nobody else is there other than me. So that Lord Shiva is also me. One who is praying to the Lord Shiva is also me. That Lord Shiva's Damru is also me. Trishula is also me. Everything. Serpent is also. Everything is me only. But in the dream I didn't know. And therefore I was doing these distinctions. On waking up I understand, everything is me only. You understand? We are in a big dream. Long one. Therefore we have this distinction of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva and this deity and that deity and me. And who is that Jnani? The Jnani who has woken up from this dream. And therefore what? He will recognize his oneness with everyone whom we think as different. Is this point clear? That is how the Jnani recognizes the oneness. Doesn't mean he will start behaving like one, but he recognizes the oneness. A result of this oneness, he will not have any likes, dislikes, no hatred, no sorrow, no fear, nothing will be there. Everything is me only. Now this is about Adi Daivika, about the Devatas, etc. The Jnani feels that oneness. Now Adi Bhautika, for the world around also, he feels that same oneness. Let us say mantra number 9. Repeat. Sa eva sarvam yadbhutam yaccha bhavyam sanatanam jnatva tam mrityumatyeti nanyaf pantha vimuktaye. Sa eva sarvam yadbhutam yaccha bhavyam sanatanam jnatva tam mrityumatyeti nanyav pantha vimuktaye. Sa Saha eva sarvam. He alone is everything. What everything? Yad bhutam. That which happened in the past. All the objects of the past, all the people of the past. Yat cha bhavyam. And that which is going to happen in the future. And that word cha is there in between, you see. Sa eva sarvam yad bhutam yat cha. That cha means even whatever is happening right now, the people and beings, etc., everything is He alone. Veji, what is this Veji? What? I take the same example of dream. Now this time instead of Lord Shiva, you see yourself, your father and your son. Three of you are sitting and discussing. Okay? And when you get up, what do you understand? Yad bhutam, yad bhavyam. Everything is me only. All the beings of the past, all the objects of the past, all the beings and objects of future, all the beings and objects in the present, all of them are me only. Why? Because there is nothing else other than me. Sanatanam. It is ancient, it is eternal. It is ever there, that is me. Actually, the concept of time, bhuta, bhavad, bhavishyat, this concept of time only is existing in me. So how does it matter whether something happened or is happening or will happen? Everything is me. You imagine what kind of freedom such a person will feel. No burden, nothing, no tension. We have hundreds of tension. We have to take care of our bhuta also, our parents also, bhavishya also, our children also. So much of headache. All the time keep on. Saeva sarvam yat bhutam. Yaccha bhavyam. Everything is me alone. Jnatva tam. Tam jnatva. Realizing or knowing that supreme reality. Mrityum atyeti. This jnani goes beyond death. Why? Who will die? The body will die. Jnani realizes, I am not the body. How can I ever have death? I am Sanatana. I am eternal Brahman. How can I have death? And Shruti says, the Upanishad says, Na anyaf panthaha vimuktaye. To get liberation, there is no other way. Na anyaha panthaha. Panthaha means path. Anyaha means other. No, there is no other path. Vimuktaye for liberation. No other means what? Jnatva. Knowledge is the only way. But Vechi bhakti, bhakti will give you that purity, clarity. With that purity, clarity, you have to gain the knowledge. I am that Brahman. Then liberation will happen. Without knowledge, liberation is not possible. Bodhonya sadhanebhyo hi sakshan mokshaika sadhanam pakasya vannivad jnanam vina moksho na siddhyati. Atmabodha, second verse. Jnanam vina moksha na siddhyati. Without knowledge, liberation is not possible. How do you reach that knowledge? There can be different paths. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga. There can be different paths. For what? To reach that Atma Jnana. But other than Atma Jnana, there is no other way by which you can gain liberation. You see now how different way people will think. Jnana margi, a person who has walked the path of jnana, will say what? When he will read these mantras, will say that whatever is natural for that jnani becomes sadhana for me. Siddhasya lakshanani sadhakasya sadhanani. So when it is said that Jnani himself is Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Indra, etc. Now I have to bring that attitude in me, saying that I alone am everything. Everything is me alone. There is no distinction. So when somebody is coming and shouting at me, I should remember that is also me. One who is shouting is also me. One who is getting shouted at is also me. The words that he is shouting about is also me. The one who is hearing is also me. Everything is me. This sadhana. A bhakta will do different sadhana. Bhakta will feel that everything is Bhagavan. The person who is coming and shouting at me, he is also Shiva only. Isn't it? My son is also Shiva. My father is also Shiva. Everything is God. Siya Rama mein sab jag jani. Karahu pranama johri jugapani. Tulsidas ji says, everything I see is Siya Ram. Ram, Shah, Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram. Nothing else I see. So what do? I keep prostrating to everyone. Why? Everywhere Bhagavan alone is there. So one person is trying to understand that everything is me. Bhakta is trying to think that everything is Bhagavan. A karma yogi will say that everything is given to me by Bhagavan, so I must keep serving. Nara seva hi Narayana seva. And he will keep serving. There is no problem with any of these. But all these three paths, all these three seekers should finally come where? Atmajnana. Where they will realize that Paramatma, that Ishvara, that Bhagavan that I worship and me are one and the same. There is no distinction. Advaitameva Satyam. When I come to this knowledge, this realization, that will give me liberation. Na anyaf pantha vimuktaye. There is no other means. There is no other path. Okay? Please understand the Shastras correctly. Don't get confused. When it is said, na anyaf pantha vimuktaye, doesn't mean that bhakti is not the marga. Are bhakti should lead to Atmajnana. Karma yoga should lead to Atmajnana. Jnana marga, Shravana Manana Nididhyasana should lead to Atmajnana. Then all these margas, all these paths are valid means. But without that Atmajnana, liberation is not possible. In Upadesh Sara, Bhagavan Raman Maharshi has explained this. He has explained all the four paths. Isn't it? Starts with Karma Yoga, then Bhakti Yoga, then Ashtanga Yoga, and then Jnana Yoga. And while explaining these four paths, in between, after Bhakti Yoga, before Ashtanga Yoga, he puts one verse where he says that all these paths are one and the same. Why? Because they lead to one and the same. The path may appear different, but the goal is Atmajnana. What is the difference? The main difference between the Jnana and Bhakti is in Jnana you acquire the knowledge. In Bhakti, Bhagavan gives you the knowledge. That's the only difference. Without that self-knowledge, liberation is not possible. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says in 10th chapter, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. I give them self-knowledge. Tesham evanukam partham aham adnyadajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavastha jnanadipena bhasvata. 10th chapter Bhagavad Gita. So, in bhakti what is happening? I am devoted to Lord. Lord takes care of my self-knowledge. Why? Because love is driving the path. Karma Yoga is extension of Bhakti Yoga only. And in Jnana Yoga what is happening? Yukti is driving. Thinking, inquiry is driving. And therefore, I myself realize that oneness. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to give beautiful example to explain this. Markata Nyaya and Marjara Nyaya. Markata is monkey. Used to say, if you have seen the monkeys, the mother monkey will be there and that small child monkey will hold on to the stomach of that mother monkey. Have you seen? And then that mother monkey will go on jumping and this child is holding on. Markata Nyaya. And Marjara means cat. He says that the mother cat picks up the kitten by the neck in the mouth and then goes and puts wherever that needs to be put. Isn't it? What is the kitten doing? Kitten is not doing anything. He is standing there. So he used to say that Jnana Yoga is Markata Nyaya. Why? You have to hold on to the monkey mother. Whereas Bhakti Yoga is Marjara Nyaya. You just be there, God will put you, God will bring the Guru in your life, He will give you Atma Jnana, or He will send you to the Guru and will make sure that you get Atma Jnana. If none of these two options are working, He Himself will come as Guru, but you will get Atma Jnana. Path of Bhakti, path of Jnana, no problem. Has to lead to Atma Jnana. That is important. Both have to lead there. Why? Because without Atma Jnana, liberation is not possible. Jnanam vina moksha na siddhyati na anyaf pantha vimuktaye. Clear? Sometimes people think that, oh, bhakti is so simple. Try, then you will know. By the entire description, no, it appears, oh, in Jnana Marga you have to hold on to it, in Bhakti Marga you just stand there. Standing just like that is most difficult thing. When Bhagavan is working on you, you don't oppose. That's a very difficult thing. Don't think that Bhakti is very easy. No path is easy, no path is difficult. It depends on you. Remember, in Bhakti, the first step which is required in Bhakti is the last step of Jnana Marga. In Jnana Marga, you give up your identification with body, then senses, pranas, mind, intellect. Finally, you give up your identification with your ego. Isn't it? In Jnana Marga. That is how the steps are. In Bhakti Marga, that is the first step. You have to give up your ego, surrender your ego at the lotus feet of God. Not easy. The point is, don't choose a path because it is easy. Choose a path which is necessary. Why? Because I am of this nature, I must use or I must take this path. It's not about ease. Why? No path is easy, no path is difficult. Take any path, reach Atma Jnana. That is the most important point. Okay? What is that Atma Jnana? Adhyatmika, no. Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika or Adi Bhautika. For around world, whatever happened, is happening, will happen, everything is He alone. Now Adhyatmika, beautiful mantra, resonates with so many shlokas and mantras in other scriptures. Let us see, mantra number 10. Sarvabhutasthamatmanam Sarvabhutani Chatmani Sampashyan Brahma Paramam Yati Nanyena Hetuna Sarvabhutasthamatmanam Sarvabhutani Chatmani Sampashyan Brahma Paramam Yati Nanyena Hetuna. That Jnani realizes Sarvabhutastham Atmanam. The self alone is there in all the beings. Sarvabhuta, all beings. Sarvabhutastha, present in all beings. Who is that? Atmanam. The self of all is my own self. The self in all is my own self. Sarva bhutani cha atmani sampashyan. And seeing all beings in the self. Sampashyan is the verb in the apurna kriya here. Sampashyan means seeing. Seeing what? Seeing the self in all beings and all beings in the self. Paramam Brahma yati. He attains that supreme Brahman. Na anyena hetuna. Again, the Upanishad says, not by any other means. This Sarvatma Bhava, This self-knowledge that the self in me is the self in all, that is necessary. That is absolutely must. There is no other way. What is said here? Self in all in self. I told you that this is a mantra which is there in so many scriptures. Ishavasya Upanishad also similar mantra is there. Sarvabhutastam sarvabhutani chatmani. Is there or not there? Is there? What is, how does it start? 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also, this phrase is there exactly like this. Sarvabhutastam sarvabhutani chatmani. Ikshati yoga yuktatma. Isn't it? So you see the same thing happening, coming in so many other scriptures. But why this like this? As long as I am going to see differences, I will remain in samsara. So if I say that I have realized myself, and what is that? That self is of the nature of Satya, Jnana, Ananta or Satchit, Ananda. That is my own nature. I realized. Okay, very good. What about other people? That I don't know. Then that is not the correct knowledge. If I am that pure consciousness, if I am that supreme reality Brahman, who are other people? The experience should be there are no other people. In everything, if in case I see everybody different from me, then the self of me is the same self in all. And therefore, all of them are in me alone. In other words, I am that supreme Brahman which is the substratum of all beings. And what about all beings? All beings are superimposed on me, the substratum. So by saying Atmanam Sarvabhutastham Sampashyan, you add one word there, Adhishthanataya. Adhishthanataya. Adhishthanataya as the substratum. Seeing the self as substratum in all beings. And then the second line, Sarva Bhutani Atmani Adhyastataya Sampashyan. Bracket you add Adhyastataya. Adhyastataya as superimposition. Again their verb is Sampashyan. Sampashyan means seeing. Seeing what? Sarva Bhutani, all beings in the self, Atmani, Adhyastataya as mere superimpositions. What do you mean? There is a plate, there is a jar, and there is a cup made up of clay. There is a plate, there is a jar, there is a cup made up of clay. Now, the Guru is telling you, see clay in all the three. See the clay in the plate, in the jar, and in the cup. As what? As the substratum. One way. Second way, see the plate, the jar, the cup in the clay. As what? As superimposition. Seeing the clay in the pot, in the jar, in the plate, in the cup as substratum, and seeing all these different forms in the clay as superimposition. Then the knowledge is complete. Why? Because now I have understood what? That clay is the substratum. All the other forms are mere superimpositions on that clay. Chandogya Upanishad says, Vacharambhadam vikaro namadheyam mrittika iti eva satyam. The clay alone is real. All other, whatever you said, no, that cup and jar and cup, the plate, etc., these are only words. Vacharambhadam. They are same. Understood? Why? Because all of them have one truth, and that is clay. All the forms, etc., are not permanent. Clay is the permanent factor there. And therefore, clay alone is in all forms as the substratum. And all forms are only present in the clay as superimpositions. Nothing else. So when I see the clay in all and everything in clay, then my knowledge is perfect. When I see the self in all beings and all beings in the self, then the knowledge, self-knowledge is complete. Tadnya, expert of that field, clay field, will see clay in everything and everything in clay. So you take a lump of clay and say that I want a cup. He will say, yeah, I will. Why? Because in the clay he is already imagining the cup. He is seeing the cup in the clay. And if you take a cup to the potter and say that I want clay back, yeah, I will give you. I will destroy the form and give you clay back. Why? Because he is seeing the substratum clay in the form cup. He is seeing the form superimposed on the substratum, and he is seeing the substratum present in the form. You go to a jeweler shop, whether you take your bangle or your nose ring or your toe ring or your ring, you go to that shop, that shopkeeper sees it as gold. The form doesn't matter to him at all. The only thing that he is worried about is what is the weight and how good is the quality, what is the carat. How many carat gold? What is the quality of the gold? What is the weight of the gold? Whether that gold is present as a bangle or a nose or just as a biscuit, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In childhood, I used to think a lot. In the movies, etc., they will show, no, these gold biscuits will be there. I used to always think, what do they do with these biscuits? Ring, I understand. Bangle, I understand. Then I understood that some shape they have to give to the gold. That's why they were given the shape of biscuits. Well, it took a long time for me to understand all these stupid things I used to think about. The point is, it doesn't matter to the goldsmith. Why? Because he sees the substratum gold in all forms. And he sees those all forms superimposed on that same gold. So he can create any form from that gold, and when you give a form, he only worries about the gold, the substratum. In the same way, I am the self which is the self in all. And therefore, seeing the self in all and seeing all in the self, seeing this, what happens? Brahma paramam yati. One reaches that supreme reality. Again, that supreme reality is not somewhere else. It is me. That supreme Brahman. How, knowing the self, he reaches supreme Brahman? Because supreme Brahman is the self. Okay. See one more interesting point. Grammatical. Sampashyan yati. Sampashyan is a present participle. Present participle means what? Present participle is that which indicates simultaneous action. Pathan gacchati. He is going while reading. So reading and going, two actions are happening simultaneously. There is no time lag. There are past participles. Like in the previous mantra. Jnatva. Jnatva is tva. Jnatva atyeti. This is past participle, means one action is over, then the second action is happening. Past participle. But present participle means what? Two actions are happening simultaneously. What are the two actions happening simultaneously? Seeing the self in all and all in self, and Brahma Paramam Yati, and reaching Brahman. These two things are happening simultaneously. Why? Because the moment I gain Sarvatma Bhava, that itself is reaching Brahman. There is no time lag. There is nothing else. It's not that one action I am doing and after that I am doing second action. No, it is happening simultaneously. Sampashan Yati. So Sarvatma Bhava is the only way to reach that supreme Brahman. Sarvatma Bhava is the Atma Jnana, explained as the Anubhava, as the experience. Right? Now, how to gain this Atma Bhava? Sarvatma Bhava, same Atma in Sarva, in all. How to gain this? Upanishad gives one more method, which is very famous, called as Omkara Upasana. In the next mantra, let us read. Mantra number 11. Atmanamaranim Kritva Pranavam Chottaraaranim Jnana Nirmathanabhyasat Pasham Dahati Panditaha Atmanamaranim Kritva Pranavam Chottaraaranim Jnana Nirmathanabhyasat Pasham Dahati Panditaha. In some books, Papam Dahati Panditaha is also there. That's okay. Meaning is same, I will explain. Through a metaphor, through a simile, Rupaka, Omkara Upasana is explained. So first let me explain the metaphor, then we will come to what is the point. Arani is the metaphor of the Arani. Arani is a wooden instrument which was used to create fire. Some of you might have seen in Karnataka there are still lots of gurukulas where all these aranis etc. are still in use. So let me just explain how that arani works. So there will be a wooden block at the bottom, circular shape will be there, and one more wooden part will be kept on top. Okay, and this wooden part will be connected with the cloth to churn. Okay, so what happens in that lower arani, there will be some camphor, some cotton, etc. will be kept, and then there is this upper arani, and then it is churned. So somebody will hold the bottom part still and somebody else will churn the top part. Now because of the friction between the lower arani and the upper arani, fire will be created which will be caught in that camphor, cotton, etc. And then this fire will be put in the Agni Kunda. That is how they will create the fire. Not like us, directly with the stick, or nowadays to it lighter only. Now to what is there? Not like that. That is how natural. So that is the metaphor. Now what is said here? Atmanam aranim kritva. The lower arani is you yourself. Imagine now. This is a metaphor, no? So I am comparing myself with the lower arani. Pranava is the Omkara. Omkara is the Omkara Upasana is what is explained here. Na? So Omkara, Pranavam, Uttara Aranim is that top wooden block. So upper block is Om, lower block is Atma. Atma is that Jiva. Okay? And then Jnana Nirmathana Abhyasat. Abhyasa, by the practice of churning. What is that churning? That churning is compared with Jnana, knowledge. By this what will happen? Fire will be created. That fire is self-knowledge. What will it do? Pasham dahati panditaha. Panditaha, a wise person, by that self-knowledge, pasham dahati, he will burn all the bondages of samsara. Or papam dahati, he will burn all the sins. So what is said there? Lower Arani is the jiva. Okay, now let us see a little more. Lower Arani is the jiva. Jiva is what? Jiva is nothing but mind. Antakarana is the jiva. Why? Because in that mind, reflection of consciousness happens, and that is what is called as jiva, isn't it? So that lower Arani is mind. And before using that Arani, they will purify that Arani with mantras, by chanting mantras, etc. So your mind which you are using for this Jnana Abhyasa also should be purified by your sadhana. So use that mind as the lower Arani, as your instrument. And then what? Upper Arani, higher Arani is Omkara. We will see what is this Omkara, etc. in just a bit. But this Omkara, who is the symbol of that Supreme Brahman, is the upper Arani. And then with these two, you are doing the Mathana. You are doing Mathana means what? That Omkara, you are doing the Upasana with the mind at the base, and then the firewood which is there, the Indhana which is there, which is ignorance, will be burnt by the fire of self-knowledge. That is what is happening. Now, what is this Om? Om. Earlier we said Om is the common name for all gods. Remember? Therefore, every mantra begins with Om. Om Bhadrang Karne Vishrunuyama Devaha. Om Athashvalayano Bhagavantam Parameshtinam Upasametya Uvacha. Everything begins with Om, common name. But that Om is also a sound symbol for Parabrahma. Is the name of that Nirguna Brahma also. Not just Saguna Brahma, but also of Nirguna Brahma. Another Upanishad from the same Veda, Mandukya Upanishad, explains this Om. It is so planned that in another 4-5 days I am starting Mandukya Upanishad. When I go back to Kochi, Mandukya Upanishad with Shankar Bhashya is what I am starting. The whole topic there is that. The Upanishad starts only with Om. Tasya Upavyakhyanam. The entire description of Om only it starts with. And all throughout, short Upanishad, but with Bhashya and with Karikas, etc., it becomes a very large one. But the entire description is on Om. So what is this Om? Om number 1 is the name for all devatas. Okay, gods. Om is also the sound symbol of that Brahman. Om is also what we say, support, alambana to reach Brahman. Kathopanishad, etc. Etadalambanam shreshtham, etadalambanam param, etadalambanam jnatva brahmaloke mahiyate. It's talking about Om. Now that Om, which is the name of Brahman, here is given as Pranava. Pranava means Om. Okay. Why Pranava is called as Om? Pranava. Prakarshena nuyate. That which is worshipped very devotedly. That which is worshipped, prakarshena nuyate, or prakarshena nayati, that which leads us excellently to the Supreme. Prakarshena nayati, alambanam, no? It is a support. So it will take me to that Supreme. Therefore, Om is called as Pranava. Sometimes Om is called as Shabda Brahma. Shabda Brahma means sound symbol of that Brahman. And then the entire Omkara Upasana will be there. I'm not going to go in detail because it's a very long process. I'll just give you some pointers. Om is made up of 4 factors. A, U, Ma, and the silence. So A, U, Ma, these are the 3 letters, and the silence, which is the substratum of these 3 letters. So in Omkara Upasana, what is done is, while chanting Om, you are remembering through A, you are remembering the entire gross world. Gross is what I see, what I perceive directly is gross. U is to be compared with the entire subtle world, what I don't see but what I feel, what I think. And Ma, half Ma, is total causal world, the Maya, the ignorance, the vasanas, etc. And the silence is that Chaturtha, is the Brahman. So in Mandukya Upanishad, U, Ma will be explained as gross, subtle and causal world, and then they will say the 4th one is called as Turiyam, Chaturtham Manyante, Sa Atma, Sa Vidneyah, etc. The silence is the substratum of U, Ma, and so to say, A is merging in U is merging in Ma, and then that Ma is merging in silence. Then what remains? Silence alone remains. In the same way, merge the entire gross world into the subtle world. Merge the entire subtle world into the causal world. Merge the entire causal world in that supreme Brahman. That Brahman which remains, you are. This process is called as Omkara Upasana. One Upasana we saw earlier, Nirguna Dhyana and Saguna Dhyana. This is another Upasana called Omkara Upasana. Okay? When we do this, now how can we understand A as the entire gross world and subtle world? There are 3 states of consciousness. Waking state, dream state, deep sleep state. We may not understand what is gross world, subtle world, causal world, but we do understand these 3 states. So through these 3 states also you can understand A, U, Ma, and the silence which is the substratum of these 3 states. Now that is the topic that is taken up now. So the Upanishad in the next mantra explains that Vishwa who is in the waking state. In next mantra, 13th mantra, Upanishad explains that Taijasa and Pradnya, the dreamer and deep sleeper, the 2 states of dream and deep sleep. And then this Jiva, Vishwa, Taijasa, Pradnya, how he goes through samsara, birth after birth. But everything has come from that one Brahman alone. In this way, the Upanishad proceeds. This Omkara Upasana is a very sacred upasana which is practiced by sannyasis, mostly because when you take sannyasa, there are no other things which are binding to you. No Gayatri mantra, no Agnihotradi karma, no Sandhya Vandana, nothing. Only thing that we do is, sannyasis are supposed to do is this Omkara Upasana. So while chanting the Omkara, we have to bring the meaning of that Om in our mind. That A represents Vishwa, the entire gross world, the waking state. U represents the Taijasa, the subtle world, the dream state. Ma represents Pradnya, the causal world, the deep sleep state. And as the A merges into U merges into Ma, U merge the entire gross world into subtle, subtle into causal, and that causal also finally into silence, into that Brahman. This is Omkara Upasana. This is the final Upasana that we are supposed to do, they say. Start with puja, physical puja. Prathama Pratima puja. Then second is what? Pratikam Uchyate. Final is then Omkara, then Nirguna. Then no Omkara also. Omkara is also support, na? Then. Right? So that is how the Upanishad is explaining. You see the thought, how the thought is being built by Brahmaji here. Now, in the next 7 to 8 mantras comes the main topic of the Upanishad, which is called Brahma Vidya. What is that Brahma Vidya? Brahma Vidya is the knowledge that the Supreme Brahman is my own self. Jiva Brahma Aikya. That oneness will be shown how the individual Jiva is one with Supreme Brahman. Now the methodology to show Jiva Brahma Aikya is different in different Upanishads. The methodology used here is called Adhyaropa Apavada methodology. What do you mean by Adhyaropa Apavada methodology? Is don't get scared whenever new terms come, okay? Very simple it is. Adhyaropa means deliberate superimposition. There is one kind of superimposition which happens by mistake. Now here you are deliberately superimposing. And then Apavada means subsequent negation. I am tempted to tell you one example. Shall I tell? I will tell. Chalo. Once what happened? One person had 3 sons. And he had few camels with him. Few camels with him he had. So when he passed away, before passing away, he wrote in the will how these camels should be distributed to his 3 sons. Okay? And what he wrote was, to the eldest son, because he took care of me so much, half of the camel should be given. To the second one, 1/3 of the total camels should be given. 1/3. And the youngest fellow has not done anything for me. 1/9 should be given to the third one. So half to the first, 1/3 to the second, 1/9 to the third. Now what happened was, when he died, there were 17 camels with him. Now, how will you make half of 17? You can't cut the camel and give half camel. No? That you cannot do. So they all started to think what to do. They could not understand, how to divide. 1/2 you can't do, 1/3 you can't do, 1/9 you can't. You can't do anything with 17 camels. So they went to this one very intellectual person and said, you solve this method. You solve this problem of ours. Then he understood, he listened to everything and he wrote something, and then he said, okay, let us take, for example, you have 17 camels with you. I will give you 1 extra camel from my side. Okay, now how many camels you have? 18 camels you have. Now divide it by 2. 9 camels to the first, eldest son. Divide by 3. 6 camels to the second one. Divide by 9. 2 camels to the third one. Now count, how many did the first son get? 9. How many the second son get? 6. How many the third one got? 2. 9 plus 6 plus 2. 17. I gave you 1 camel, I will take it back. So now what happened? There was a problem. That problem was not solved, not getting solved properly. So what? One deliberate superimposition was done, and then subsequent negation was done. He added 1 factor, solved the problem, and removed that factor. Okay? That factor which the Vedanta adds to this problem of the world, to solve the problems of the world, and then subsequently removes, is called as Maya. What is Maya? That 18th camel which never existed. That is Maya. Why is it added? To solve the problem. But after solving the problem, do you keep Maya there? No, you remove it. You understand? So first, Adhyaropa, what will be said? Maya will be explained, how by Maya that Paramatma has become this Jiva who is going through waking state, dream state, deep sleep state, etc. And then it will be said, Saeva Maya Parimohitatma. He goes through different births, etc. You remove that Maya, he remains that Supreme Brahman. Tattvameva, Tvameva Tat. Mahavakya will come in the Upanishad. Understood what is the concept of Maya? Why the concept of Maya is required? If that 18th camel is not there, you can't solve with 17. You can't. That 18th factor is required. Okay? On thinking little more, you will understand that the problem was wrong. Half to the first son, 1/3 to the second son. Ideally, he should have said 1/6 to the third one, but he wrote 1/9. When the problem is wrong, there cannot be right answer to it. The problem that we are facing of seeing the world is wrong. Why? Because there is no world. No, Vejji, I want to know how world came. Now, if you are asking the question, then I will give answer. You will be satisfied with it. But the fact of the matter is, your question is wrong. I will solve. By adding Maya into it, I will solve the question. But remember, the question itself was wrong. And that's why it could have been solved by putting Maya. Actually, there is no world, there is no Maya, there is no waking, dream, deep sleep, nothing is there. No, Vechi, what? If you think that there is a world, already you are in that wrong problem. We will solve that wrong problem using another wrong entity called Maya. Okay, how it is done, we will see in tomorrow's class. Okay. Adhyaropa Apavada. Deliberate superimposition and subsequent negation. We will see tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.